Hey, is it hard? Huh?
Welcome to Breaking the Silence with Arthur, Nick, and Nicole, a podcast that dives deep into stories, struggles, and triumphs of extraordinary individuals. Join me as I explore powerful narratives, uncover hidden truths, and celebrate the voices that refuse to be silenced. Whether it's personal journeys, social issues, or inspiring achievements, the episodes are designed to enlighten, engage, and empower. Get ready for some candid conversations, thought-provoking insights, and a community that believes in the power of speaking out. Let's break the silence together. Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Silence with Arthur, Nick, and Nicole, where you can unleash your inner voice. Now, today's guest is no stranger to the Breaking the Silence platform. He's been up here several times for the Breaking the Silence open mic, but I'm excited about putting him in the spotlight today because he's not only a poet, a spoken word artist, he's also an author. He dabbles in a lot of different things, y'all. So the guest today is Jeremy C. Watson, a powerhouse poet. I'm telling y'all, he's a powerhouse poet, and I'm excited about talking to him today. So after his countdown, please welcome him to the Breaking the Silence platform. Hey, Jeremy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for being a guest today. I'm excited about putting you in the spotlight. It's different now because we're not up here performing. You're not up here performing. You're actually being interviewed. So
Yes, well, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the opportunity to share your platform and talk about some of the things that are really dear to my heart. So thank you so much for having me and hosting me.
you're welcome. So tell everybody, how did your journey as a spoken word artist start?
Oh, that's interesting because I have only been doing spoken word for a little over a year. I started this journey in April of 2023, hitting the stage for the first time, and doing poetry from my latest book titled The Complicated Reflections of Him. So my journey has not been a long journey in the spoken word field, but it has been a rewarding journey that has opened up. God has been so gracious to me. He's opened up so many platforms and doors and allowed me to perform on so many stages in this last year that I've been doing spoken word. So yeah.
Wow, I would have never guessed that you just started doing this. Never. Wow. So what inspired you to write your first book? If the world was without color, and how has your writing evolved since then?
The If the World Was Without Color, my youngest son Ian inspired me to write my first book, which was in 2019. I remember having a conversation with my sister saying that I'm just gonna do it. I don't care who likes it. I don't care if anybody if I sell a single book. I'm just gonna write the book. I'm gonna put my thoughts on paper. And my why is that I have 4 children, and I wanted to write books based on my children's experiences. I wanted to write books that bear their faces. And So in 2019, my son Ian left my wife and I a note that said, "Thank God for making people with color, because without color, the world would be blank like paper." So I took that note, and he was at that time. My youngest son is 13 now. So he was very young, writing what I thought was a pretty profound note. And so I took that note and I wrote "If the World Was Without Color." It's a children's book that just celebrates all of the colors of mankind. It celebrates the reds of roses, the blues of skies, and it also
I can't hear you,
for
Jeremy.
that it's okay to love ourselves and appreciate all of the colors that make up mankind, because that is from our creator, and our creator did not make any mistakes on us. So it's okay to see color, because God gave us color to appreciate.
Hmm. Wow, that is powerful. Like you said, him being that young and writing something like that, and then you taking it and running with it. Wow. So can you
That's my baby.
describe can you describe your writing process? Like, do you have any special like routines or rituals that you have to get into in order to stay focused and write? Have any special like routines or rituals that you have to get into in order to stay focused and write?
I don't. It's so funny to me, because when I have a thought, and all of the information just kind of pours in at once. I can sometimes write. I wrote a play in less than 30 days. I wrote this book about Ian probably in 30 minutes. It's when I have a thought, everything is downloaded almost simultaneously, to the point where I can't take a shower. I would jump out the shower just to get my pen and paper to write down a thought before it escapes me. Um, so there's really no one thing that I do to get centered. I just allow at least the space to write. And sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 pages of just thoughts. And then I'll take those thoughts and then I'll merge them into a piece. And sometimes though that 2 pages of thoughts are for several different pieces.
Mhm.
So I don't have a particular rhythm that I follow. I just let those thoughts download into me, and then when I sit down, it just seems like they all just pour like water.
Wow. So in your book, What is Pretty? That it's a book of affirmations. What motivated you to focus on affirmations, and how do you think they can impact the readers' lives?
Ooh, it's my daughters. So my daughters and my wife. So as I mentioned, my focus in writing books was to create spaces for my children to be able to when I'm long and gone, they'll have pieces of me that they can share with their children's forevermore. So every book that I have written that is soiled in inspiration for my children. And What is Pretty is one of those books that I dedicated to some of the powerful, strong women in my life. My pastor, my wife, my mother, my cousin, my sister, gathering all of these women and asking them a simple question like, "What is pretty?" And then giving my daughters confirmations and things that they can write out and journal, to help improve their self esteem and let them understand that pretty is not just what you see, but there's an internal pretty that a lot of people learn to hide. So, What is Pretty has been such a blessing for me, because it is also shared in a Chicago non-for-profit, girls non-for-profit, uses that book to encourage girls. So there's a picture that I have 2 years in a row now with a group of about 30 girls all holding What is Pretty. So you write these things to inspire your children, and God uses that thing to inspire other people. So I'm so blessed. What is Pretty is such a pretty book.
I love it. Wow. So every book that you've written so far that I've highlighted has been based off your children, them being the inspiration for your writing. Wow. So
Absolutely. There's no bigger inspiration to my writing than the biggest inspiration of my life. You can't go into fatherhood, into parenting, and not have people that inspire you, like that fire of inspiration up under you. And that is what my children have been for me. All of the experiences that they have encountered, all the experiences that I have encountered as a young man, as a teenager, as a boy, as a father, being able to teach that to my children, but also learn a great deal from these human beings who are learning life. I like to think that there's a portion of me that has it together, but it's also interesting to be able to watch children grow and learn and capture their understanding of life and not capture their understanding of life and make mistakes and come to you for guidance. That is a portion of adulthood, right? That as a teenager, you can't really even fathom, right? The
Right.
ideal of you growing and thinking you know everything, and then suddenly you have these individuals who you babied and nursed, and suddenly they are experiencing life in so many different facets, and then they're coming to you for explanation, and sometimes they're not coming to you for explanation, and you have to figure it out for these kids and or allow them to figure it out for themselves. So inspiration is soiled in my family, soiled in my wife of almost 22 years, and soiled in my children as well.
Wow, 22 years. Wow. Woo. I'm gonna get like you one day. I'm headed to 10 years. You said 22. Wow.
22.
So
We met in high school in a 10th grade economic class. And I'll tell you this, they say love at first sight, but when she walked through those doors, I knew she was going to be my wife. And we have been together since our junior year, and we have been going strong ever since. So, yeah.
wow, I'm so excited. That is so sweet. Wow. I knew. Now you talk about these books. So you sold over 500 copies of one of your books. What do you believe contributed to that success?
Ooh, it was I truly believe it was understanding my why and not being bogged down by what success looked like for me. Success for me looked like writing a book that that again bore the faces of my children, told their stories, were inspired by my children, and not caring what happened after that. So if I sold one book, that was great. If I sold two books, that was great. But at this point, I've sold over 500 books of my first book, If the World Was Without Color, featuring my son Ian. um I all praise and thanks to God, because that has been you get these gifts. God gives you these gifts, and to be able to give them back for His glory, and to be able to use those gifts to inspire other children. My goodness, it's like that is the reward. The reward is being able to give this gift back, not only to God, but to share this gift with His children and have them embrace it in such a beautiful way.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna give them a sneak peek of some of your work so they can see and hear that powerful voice that you have. So we're gonna come back. I'm gonna play it for them, and we're gonna come back and dive back into the conversation.
Awesome.
Kryptonite weakens his will to resist, though the spirit positions to flee, the desire of the flesh insists to partake in the consumption of the fruitlessness of forbidden fruit that tastes like sweet cane from stout stalks with entangled roots, a sweetness that's bitter to the spirit like lemon to the tongue, souring the desire from which such thirst sprung. Though he knew the honey-coated sin masked the smell of dung, he was netted to its stench, so he cleaved and clung. Is it a bird, a plane, or a man swiftly descending upon the depths of his internal lustful departments, while enjoying the strength of his weakness that satisfies him with the assault of fleshly bombardments? As the todays hide into yesterdays, he deafens his heart to the whisper of the Spirit's beckon, though he is super.
Mm, mm,
He
mm, mm.
deafens his heart to the whisper of the Spirit's
You are
beckon.
powerful poet, I'm telling you. So
Thank you.
how are you balancing your writing career
Powerful poet, I'm
and
telling you.
with by these hands designs as
How are you
well?
balancing your writing career? Powerful poet, I'm
And
telling
with
you.
by these hands designs as
How are you
well.
balancing your writing career? Powerful poet, I'm
Okay,
telling you.
so By These Hands Designs is our small business, and it was really built on inspiration. So when we talk about books and we talk about all all of that, I think that By These Hands Designs kind of fits perfectly into that. So you have the inspiration of mind and mouth, and you have also the inspiration of creativity of hands, of use.
Mm.
So where I'm able to blend both of those worlds, I learned how to, with the same inspiration that I use to write my books, it's a similar inspiration that I use to learn how to do woodwork. And
Mm.
I during COVID, I took a moment when the world was offering the world a break, and we all were kind of not working as often as we once were. We weren't doing the things that we once were. It was a great time to learn a different craft. And took that time to write my books, but I also took time to learn a different craft, and that was woodworking. And so a
Mm.
part of our business, the By These Hands Designs, is that my wife, she does wreaths. We do body butter, scrubs. I also make furniture, desks,
Mm.
cabinets, pretty much anything you can do with wood, dining tables. And I learned that during COVID. And God has been so gracious to us that during those COVID years, I was able to leave my full-time work as a hotel GM and to invest in our business and learn how to cultivate that business and build that business up, and was able to write and focus on my writing journey too. So it's easy to focus on both because they both come from different levels of inspiration,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Again, the inspiration of mind and hand, and the inspiration of mind and mouth. It's a great thing to balance because neither of them feel like work.
Wow, congratulations. It is a great thing when you become full-time in what you actually love to do, because you're right. It does not feel like you're working. It feels like you're just sitting down doing something that you love to do, but at the same time, you're making money from it.
Yes.
Congratulations. I love it.
Thank you.
Now, you should have known that I was going to ask you to recite a poem for us.
Ooh, okay, 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 okay. Okay, so I'll do one of my favorite pieces to recite. It is from my latest book, The Complicated Reflections of Him. It is a poem that delves into sort of those complicated thoughts of men when you have gone through a piece of trauma, and it shows up in your life as patterns. And sometimes, as men, we don't quite understand how some of the trauma from our past shows up in our present. And this poem is titled Penis, of all things. His penis is what my pen is, spilling its ink over blank pages in calligraphy stages while he emphasizes his print. He starts with an indent as words extract pieces of him like lint. You see, his focus is merely a hint of the strength his penis lent by the percent of self-esteem that is portioned by pinches, as his power dwells in erected hardness that is measured in inches. Penis poems packed with cringe and innuendos about crawling in your windows, to dive in your window, to read you like a novel before the crescendo. Yet, how deep can one go with his humility hidden behind zippers and ego, pride unmatched like vitiligo, while I vent till I grow, vent till I know it's not so black and white. When the pen drains its ink, it bursts chapters to his story, future history he can't rewrite. But when the penis possesses the might, it is the mind that loses the fight, retrieving thoughts from brain that stimulate the head that drives him to pain as he drains his emptiness into the valley of the equally empties terrain. I got sheets for seeds, but vocabulary won't spit them out. The tongue swallows the nouns as the adjectives describes the route he takes to facilitate just enough pleasure to eliminate the self-loathing the duty of the penis associates with hurt. Such pleasures cannot eliminate, but pain does not discriminate when the penis is used to liberate him from the hurt that did not originate in the part of the flesh that flesh can stimulate. So he bleeds his seeds onto women who offer themselves as stationary, where he scribbles the worst parts of himself across bodies that lay stationary, motionless, emotionless, words slurred, suck his diction, stuttering through an internal war of words that offer him fiction. Reading, he can battle any addiction using the tool that brings him the most friction. He learned his only weapon is the sword of flesh that dangles between his legs. He plunges it into the souls of women, entangling them within his web, trapping her to believe that his genius is within his penis, so she can feel complete with his incompleteness and clean with his uncleanness, to only feel filthy when she realizes the penis isn't so prestigious, especially when it's worshipped by others he deems religious. Call it delicious when she eats his words like they're nutritious, an essay of seeds spread across his expedition. Yet his rendition pleasurizes what his father left written in the story titled Hurt, yet in the file marked hidden. You see, my sisters, the difference between a man who just has sex with you and a man who makes love to you is not measured by the penis you let inside of you, but the direction his heart is turned towards you. Because a man who just has sex with you and a man who makes love to you acquire movements that appear the same. But when he is done with you and his heart beats for you, I assure you that perspective will change. Thank you.
I know that's right. Woo! Always fire, Jeremy. I'm telling you.
Thank you
So
so much.
what advice would you give to aspiring authors or poets out there that want to, just start?
I think the answer is in what you just said. Just start. Just write it. I said to someone a few weeks ago, write it ugly. Because sometimes our stories are not pretty. Sometimes we get lost in trying to beautify ugly situations. And sometimes the gift is just writing that thing as ugly and as transparent as you possibly can make it. So just start. Just pull your pen out and start writing. Pull your laptop out and start typing and write your story as ugly as it comes out. And you can worry about prettying it up later, but write it ugly. Write it ugly.
You're right. But you know what? When it comes to me writing, I feel like sometimes my best writing is when I'm in a mood. Like I have to be sad, happy, something, or either have some type of silence. Either it has to be silent, or I can listen to music and write too. But most of the time, I always write with a title. But I've noticed when I write now without a title, best writing.
See, I can't. Sometimes I like to write with the title and with a subject in mind. But I think that as long as you allow yourself allow that subject to change, allow that the freedom of letting that title change, then you can write a little bit more freely. Because sometimes being confined is not what I like. What helps me. I like to have the freedom that even if I start with one thought, then sometimes by the end of that piece, it's a completely different thought. And sometimes the title can kind of restrain you into just writing about this or just writing about that. But I kind of go both ways sometimes. Sometimes when it's a theme, sometimes staying on that subject matter helps me. But most times I don't write the title until I'm done. I don't write the subject until I'm done. I like to just flow, let it flow.
Wow. I mean, those are the best pieces though, to just let it flow. Those are the best ones to just let it flow. So what's some advice that you wish that someone would have gave you along this journey? Uh-oh, I think Jeremy's frozen, y'all. One moment, I'll be right back.
If you only have 24 hours in a day, your success is dependent upon how you use the 24. You got to hear me. People talk about Oprah Winfrey, Ted Turner, Warren Buffett. Listen to me. I don't care how much money you make. You only get 24 hours in a day. And the difference between Oprah and the person that's broke is Oprah uses her 24 hours wisely. That's it. Listen to me. That's it. You get 24. I don't care if you broke, you grew up broke. I don't care if you grew up rich. I don't care if you're in college, you're not in college. You only get 24 hours. And I blew up literally. I went from being a high school dropout to selling 6,000 books in less than 6 months. What happened? My 24 hours. I was like, okay, Eric, you got to get a grip on your 24 hours because you're about to be broke for the rest of your life. And this is all I need you to do for me. I can tell you all about your life if you just write down your 24-hour schedule for me and you let me look at it. I can tell you where you're going to be in 5 years. I can tell you where you're going to be in 10 years. I can tell you where you're going to be in 20 years if you keep that schedule.
All right, guys. It looks like Jeremy had some bad issues on his end. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Breaking the Silence. Make sure you follow Jeremy on all platforms across all social media. And make sure you also visit and try to get his book. Oh, y'all, he just popped back into the studio. Just one moment. I got to give him his BTS 30 Seconds of Fame. Y'all know I got to do it. About to get him on the stage. All right, what happened?
I have no idea. It just clicked off, and I saw a black screen. I've been trying to get back in, so I'm glad I got back.
Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna give you the spotlight. I'm gonna give you your 30 seconds of fame. I want you to shine as bright as you can. Let everybody know where they can find those amazing books, what you have coming up next for as events, because I've been watching you got a lot going on where people are inviting you. So Al, I'm gonna do your countdown. When we come back, you're gonna be on the platform by yourself, shining.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Again, my name is Jeremy C. Watson. I thank you so much for giving us your time today and listening to some of my words and what inspires me as a poet and an author. You can visit my website at jcwat.com, jcwatt.com, which will have all of the information regarding me. All of my books are available on Amazon.com and on many other online platforms. What I have coming up next is I'm going to be in a play called Church Hurt Friendly Fire. That's going to be in Belleville, Illinois. That's going to be this upcoming Saturday, the 28th. So I'm really excited about that. I was able to also write a poem for that piece. So I'm really, really excited about that as well. A lot of other things coming up too, as far as poetry is concerned. I hope to be in the city near you soon. I am cultivating a show called The Complicated Reflections of Him, a Poetic Journey. I was able to perform that at the STL Friends show, and it was voted by one of the critics as the best show of STL Friends. So I'm looking to cultivate that show, fine tune it, and begin to travel to different states and cities to perform that. So hopefully you'll see me in the city near you. Again, thank you so much. It has been a blessing to offer myself over to you. I hope I have inspired somebody out there. God bless you all. Thank you so much, Arthur Nikki, for having me on your platform, and you all be blessed.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for always being one of my biggest supporters. I'll never forget that day that I was having an open mic and you said, I'm coming. And
I'm
you just
coming.
popped up and recited a poem for me. So thank you so much for always supporting me on every set, even if you got to just a little bit of time for me. That
Yeah,
means a
I
lot to me.
appreciate you. You make it easy. I thank you for your support, for your likes, for your shares, and for all the people out there. You don't know how important your simple like, your simple love, your simple share is to people who are trying to build creative pieces. Right? It matters to us. It matters to our creativity. It matters to our esteem. It matters to us to just have people support these projects that we are really pouring ourselves out. I think sometimes it's easier to support the Tyler Perrys of the world, but there's some Jeremy Watsons, there's some Arthur Nickies out there that are pushing the pen and who are building platforms for people like us who are, just starting, people like me who are starting to build. So it's absolutely a blessing to have you always in my corner, always sharing, always liking, and that means the world to me. So I appreciate you and thank you so much for you and your time.
You're welcome. You gonna make me cry up here today. I'm sitting there, I feel my eyes just watering up. I'm like, oh my God, he gonna make me cry. Oh my goodness, Jeremy has left again on me. But y'all, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Breaking the Silence with Jeremy C. Watson. Make sure you follow his journey. Remember, y'all, it's important that you remember that your voice matters, you matter, your life matters. And you have to know that. You have to speak life into yourself every single day that you wake up. It starts with you. Everything starts with you. Your tone, you. That sets your tone for the day. So be kind to somebody today. Be grateful for the people that are in your corner. Be grateful for the people that continuously pour into you. Be grateful for the people that are always there when you need them. Not only when it comes down to money, y'all. We always think that it's all about money when it comes to support. It's not. You can simply tune into this live or tune into anything that Arthur Nick Nicole has going on, and it's appreciated highly. So thank you so much for always believing in me, always supporting me, for the ones that always show up. Thank you for showing up for me. So until next time, continue to break the silence and make your voice count. Later.
Let me lotion this dark skin so this melanin can stay glistening. Like stars that are sparkling, we shine in distant spaces with shades of faces in all places. Despite the lack of embraces from other races, we break out the box, the world encases. With kingdom traces embedded in our genes as we sit upon thrones as kings and queens. Yes. Coarse hair creating coarse hair, segregated like marching figurines. Unity comes through community, steady deepening the self-esteem of a people, steady widening, enlightening the minds of youth, hungry for truth forbidden. Because when you are the future of a past rewritten, you become just another word in the incomplete sentence with no repentance of a history stricken. But regardless of the shadow they cast, they cannot keep our history hidden. So we loose the noose on nostalgic truths, those who wrote the book steady tighten. But you see, the thing about melanin, it contains the only darkness that brightens. Yes. The light in cannot be extinguished. Out of the distinguished can power not be relinquished, because we have proven that you can put us in chains with all the remains systemic racism contains. And rise is what we do. Yes. Just as the word spoken by Dr. Maya Angelou, you can blast stereotypes out of stereotypes that beat and repeats of prejudices increased. And rise is what we do for every unarmed us that you slew. Rise is what we do for every Trayvon Martin that you pursue. Rise is what we do. You see, we could have sieged the Capitol too, but we refuse to let your hypocrisy engage. Let the sound of your bullets sing out your rage. Because what we all understand is that if the Capitol was being stormed by the black man, oh, how your silver bullets would sing a different tune as they pierce through the fleeing wolves now howling at the moon, crying out in agony with their pain repeated in uploads and shares. How this world would have seen our fathers and our sons laying dead upon those Capitol stairs. But rise is what we do, yes. Because just like them, we cannot wait to be risen by you. Despite these happenings, we keep re-examining, we keep imagining that we can rise together with you. Because you see, our resilience is embedded in this melanated brilliance, yes. That glistens even without lotion spread across this dark skin. This blackness was not their sin, but a gift of God embedded within. Yes. And its title is Melanin. Yes.